welcome to Outside the Huddle with OT. I am your host, Dr. OT Porter, the NGFFL's Director of Communications, communicating with you directly about our NGFFL family as we work to compete, connect, and unite. In my ongoing series of first-time Gay Bowl experiences, I am very excited to have a lady from Boston, Miss Erryca Robicheaux, and she is here to discuss with us all of the fantasticness that is she and about her first Gay Bowl experience. So because you've heard me talking so much, and it's what I do, right? Let's just skip to the part that you really care about, which is Erryca. So hello, Erryca.
Hey, OT.
How you doing? It's going.
Fantastic.
Good. I'm excited to have you here.
Yeah, me too. I've been watching College Game Day all morning, so I'm all amped and like hyped for this football interview now.
Perfect. It's perfect. That's what I needed. I needed that kind of energy. That's what this has to be, right? Like, it's exciting. It's football season, and we have the unfortunate loss of Gay Bowl this year, but this opened up the door for something fantastic like this interview with you that would probably not have happened because we would have been prepping for Gay Bowl. So, yay.
I mean, I feel like people would rather play football than listen to me talk, but,
nope.
Maybe I'm a good consolation prize.
No, your voice is hot, so I think people want to listen to your voice. It's very sexy. So let's jump right in. First thing, did you have or what were your expectations going into Gay Bowl in New York City?
I think that I didn't really have any set expectations. I might have had a little idea of what I thought it might be like, but I didn't really know. I knew people who had been to Gay Bowl, but I hadn't really talked to any of them about it, about what to expect or anything. I don't know if I did that on purpose because I just wanted to kind of like go in and see what it was going to be like for myself or what. But, I don't think I had any set expectations except for that, when a bunch of gays throw a party, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, that much is always true, right? Yeah, that's a good way to go into it, right? No expectations. You get to just be open and experience everything as it's happening. I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. When you were there, right? Once you got there and you started roaming around and meeting people and talking, did you feel a sense of belonging, inclusion, and support?
Oh yeah, we had such a good time. It was our entire team's first time to Gay Bowl or to any NGFFL tournament. We actually put the team together sort of as the deadline for registration was like closing. And we just, we were like recruiting players like literally the last day. I'm like texting people, hey, don't forget, registration closes at midnight tonight, so make sure you register. I checked the roster. You're not on there yet.
Wow.
So I think we were all really excited to be there, and I think that a lot of people were actually pretty surprised at the community and the inclusiveness that we felt there.
Oh, good. Speaking of like putting your team together at that rate, right? Did Gay Bowl strengthen your connection with your city and your teammates?
Oh yeah. It's really funny because like I just mentioned, none of us really played together before, but actually a lot of us didn't even know each other going into Gay Bowl.
Wow.
We had a few practices, but you know how it goes when you're grown up and you have work and stuff, so not everybody can go to every practice. So I would say probably, half, 3/4 of our team had like met at one practice or another practice or whatever. And then going into Gay Bowl, again, because we put the team together so last minute, probably almost half of our team couldn't make the Friday games because they couldn't get off of work. So on Friday, some of our team met for the first time. And I want to say we played all of our Friday games with like 8 people that we played with on Friday. And then Saturday, so we actually rented this big apartment, and the whole team stayed together, which is kind of funny considering that some of us had never even met.
Right.
But we rented this apartment, and Friday night, some people get there, and then the rest of the team literally is like driving up to the field on Saturday morning, 10 minutes before our game starts. And that's actually the first time that our entire team met, like 10 minutes before our first game on Saturday.
Amazing.
So I don't know if strengthen's the right word because we had no connection really at all. But it was so great. Staying in the house together was a really great idea because we just all got along so well, like instantly. And actually, it's a year later, and we all still have a group chat that we all talk regularly. We all hang out regularly. Some of us live together. I mean, it's crazy because if you had met us on the Monday morning after Gable, you would think that we had all been best friends for like years, and we had all just met that weekend. So it was amazing.
That's what it's all about, right? That connectiveness, that sense of community, that is what it's all about. Thinking about your story, though, right? Like putting the team together, half of you not being there on Friday. What did you think of the competition level when you got on the field?
It's a little bit different for the girls. The guys have A, B, and C, and that's awesome because you can kind of have everybody. Every game can be at least, somewhat competitive. For the girls' league, there are definitely some teams who are powerhouses. Obviously, Denver, San Diego. I mean, they're always going to be, just powerhouse teams. And then you have teams like us who are, first timers with some really great athletes, but maybe just haven't been playing together as long, or whatever the situation. But I think our goal was to be about mid-level competitiveness. We wanted to at least be in the top half was our goal, and we actually did that. So we were super excited about that. We have a lot of athletes on our team, but obviously playing together and being a cohesive team is something way different. So we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of really competitive games. We did have some games where it was obvious the other team was maybe had been playing together longer. But we're going to get there, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the great thing, and you bring up a really important part of what's happening at the NGFFL as a entity on its own is the rise of the Women's Plus division and the need to sort of continue to expand it so that it can be a little more of a level playing field when you have a team like a Denver who's had the same players for maybe 6 years playing against a Boston who's a first-time team and never played together, right? So I think that's important, and it's great that you all were able to come because that continues to expand the league and expand the Women's Plus division, and then hopefully, in the next couple of years, we can split the women's division into A and B because we have 20 or 30 Women's Plus teams.
Well, I mean, I think, you mentioned Denver has been together for a number of years, and they have, 2 or 3 women's teams at a lot of tournaments, not just Gable. Same with South Florida. So I think that's really encouraging because what we're trying to do here in Boston is, expand women's involvement in our Boston League is Flag Boston. And what's really cool is that after Gable, we were all hyped about it, and we're all talking to our friends and all of this. And so when we put out the call for tryouts for this Gable, which sadly got canceled, we had enough women to have 2 teams. So in literally 1 year, we doubled our team. So I think that, just putting in the work and giving it time, I think that women are really excited about the opportunity. that they may or may not have realized was there. But, you know, once they realize it, you know, everybody's really excited about it.
Good. So you talked a lot about becoming friends with your teammates. Did you make friends from other cities?
Oh, we made friends from everywhere. We actually, so, you know, we went to Sunshine Cup in February and hung out with the South Florida players there that we had met at Gay Bowl. And then some of our players actually went to Denver. I want to say it was maybe for a wedding or something. And they hung out with the Denver players there. So we didn't just make friends like at Gay Bowl. We're actually being friends with a lot of the people we've met way past Gay Bowl across the country.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So most memorable moment from Gay Bowl in New York City?
Ooh. I have one on the field and one off the field.
Please share both.
Okay. So I'll share the off the field one first because it was kind of short. But it was the closing night party and everybody was out dancing and one of our players had a dislocated finger. And another one of our players is a doctor of physical therapy, so she was on the dance floor, like, tearing it up, and our other player with the dislocated finger walked up to her, and she's like, hey, I think this is dislocated. Can you check it? And she kind of felt it, and she's like, yep. And she's like, you ready? Yep. 1, 2, 3, bam. And reset her finger on the dance floor at the party. So it was amazing.
Because nothing stops the closing party.
Right. Like, and then everybody just went back to dancing, like, immediately.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. But on the field, there was actually this really great moment on Saturday afternoon where a lot of our men's teams, I want to say we had like 4 or 5 men's teams at Gay Bowl this year, which was awesome. But we were playing South Florida Purple, I think, and it was last game of the day, and all of our guys had finished playing their games, so they all came to watch our game. And there were a lot of them, so they surrounded the entire field. So every single play, no matter where the ball was, you had someone cheering you on.
Oh.
Which was super cool because, you know, Boston has, you know, 8 or 9 men's teams, I think, that travel throughout the year. And this was the first time we had a women's team that had traveled for a tournament in, I think, maybe 8 or 10 years since the last time we had a women's team that traveled. So it was just this really great moment where, like, the guys were there, they were supporting us, the energy was just amazing. One of the refs actually told us after that should have been the championship game because she had never seen that kind of, like, excitement and energy and, like, fan engagement in any game. So it was really awesome.
I wish I would have gotten to see that. That sounds like it was amazing.
And to their credit, South Florida also had, you know, all of their other women's teams and their men's teams there too. So it wasn't
South Florida always travels in packs. Yeah.
Right. So it was just, the field was just surrounded, and it was just great.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I apologize if you hear, like, some noise. My puppy has the zoomies right now, and he's just going crazy and, like, running into all the things.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I have a dog who likes to run around, too, so don't worry. I'm not picking anything up, but thank you.
Okay.
So with Toronto on the horizon and, you know, Gay Bowl Toronto being the next thing that we're looking forward to, what are you looking forward to as a returning veteran?
Everything. Gay Bowl in New York was awesome. I think the next one's going to be even better as a returning player. We know so many people from the other teams, the refs that we're looking forward to seeing again. But on a competitive level, we have all, I mean, obviously COVID kind of put a wrench in this, but, we went to the South Florida tournament and we have kind of scrimmaged and played around together and just strengthened our bonds, as friends too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that our team is going to be a lot more cohesive and hopefully play together better than we did and be a little more competitive. And also hopefully, we do have the 2 women's teams. So, we can have a little bit more competitive team. And also it's just more, like you said, traveling in packs and supporting each other. I think that means a lot in terms of just having fun and also, your motivation to play for your city. So I think that we're going to be a lot more competitive, and I can't wait to see how we perform, but also just to have fun.
Yeah, and you're right. You are, because as those bonds grow, trust grows, and that's what you need on the field, is that trust, those friendships.
Right, and I honestly think that's why we did as well as we did this last Gay Bowl. Even though we didn't really know each other, I mean, yes, we did have some really amazing athletes on our team, but I think really the big difference was that we all got along and bonded together so quickly that it was a lot easier to play as a team once we got onto the field.
Yeah, it matters. Okay, I have one last question, and then I'm going to let you go about your day, because I know you have big, big plans.
Yeah, I'll get that hair done.
Yes, okay. So, if there is a female, a woman, or a non-binary person who somehow this podcast reaches and is apprehensive about being a part of the NGFFL or joining a league, what would you want that person to hear?
Oh, man, just do it. On a personal level, I had just gotten to Boston less than a year before I joined Flag. And when I first got here, I had a really hard time meeting people. Boston's just very different from the South where I was from, and so I was having a hard time really like making a group of friends. And I joined Flag, and it was the best thing that I could have done. I met so many people. I felt like I had a place where I belonged. I had a family, a community. It was just like instantly everything changed for me just because of joining Flag. And I know I've heard a lot of people who've had very similar experiences, whether, they used to be an athlete and they didn't feel like there was really a place in sports for them anymore, or if they had never played sports at all and they didn't feel like they were good enough and they were apprehensive about it. I mean, just so many great stories from everybody that I've met who just have had the most amazing time in an NGFFL league. And I've never heard someone say anything otherwise. So definitely do it, especially the women. I know it can be maybe a little bit more intimidating because there are traditionally, I think right now, a lot more men in, most of the leagues than women. But that's why it's so important that we join and we make a place for other women, for other trans women, queer women, maybe just any woman, allies, whatever, who maybe doesn't have a place to belong or doesn't have an opportunity to play sports anymore like they used to or whatever. The more women that join, the better it is for all other women.
I agree, and I can't think of a better place to stop this interview. That was a perfect ending. Erryca, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your excitement. Thank you for taking part in this. Thank you for joining me on Outside the Huddle. Thank you to all the listeners. Continue listening for the other episodes with all of the new players and the first-timers. And until next time we meet, just be kind to yourself and be kind to all the others you meet in the NGFFL as we work to compete, connect, and unite. Goodbye, everybody.